Hello, everybody. Welcome back to a new year, a new decade, and a new semester. And my name is Mrs. Gempel, and I am a biology teacher, but a technology integration coach. And I'm just creating this quick video along with Mrs. Kluchar to get you started off on your online health class using Google Classroom. And you might be thinking, oh, I use Google Classroom. I'm an expert. I know exactly how to use it. And that's great. But chances are you've not been in a 100% online class before. And the expectations for you to be on top of your own work and to be checking things and to make sure that you hit submit and you communicating with your instructor might be a little bit new to you and a little bit higher than they would be in the class that you meet with the instructor every day face to face. And it's a good idea to get into these habits anyways, especially for online classes, because you're probably going to be in the future taking more of those. If they're not completely online classes, they might be like a hybrid format where you have some FaceTime with the instructor and then a more significant place online. Okay, so let's get started with this. Mrs. Kluchar probably has already had you guys get into your Google Classroom for your health class. And I'm just going to quickly go through how some tips and tricks on navigating through Google Classroom for this thing about this when I'm looking through this. And this is one of Mrs. Kluchar's sections from last semester that I'm just a sample student in. And looking through this, the good thing for you guys is that Mrs. Kluchar is extremely organized. So it's really easy for you to keep on top of things, to know what the expectations are. She's very descriptive. You just have to make sure that you do your work, you submit your work, and you communicate with her if you have any questions. And I'm happy to help you as well on any of the technical aspects of Google Classroom. But it should be pretty straightforward. All right, so you're probably familiar with the stream part of Google Classroom. This shows your most recent work, and this is really good to use if you are kind of going into your classroom every day or every couple days. You can see the most recent things, you can click on them, and it's all very recent. But if you need to look at some things from the past, or if it's been a while since you've been into your Google Classroom, you just want to click on this classwork tab, and that will show you your topics organized. So again, Mrs. Kluchar does an excellent job of keeping everything really organized for you. So you can go in there, do your work, know what's expected of you, know when things are due, etc. So I'm just going to take this example as an example. This she might have things switched up for your particular class because we do things differently from semester to semester. But when you click on this, if I click on any of these here, it'll open them up. But the best thing to do, I would do, is go to the View Assignment tab, and you'll see your work here. This is what needs to be turned in. And then these are probably just resources that are going to be helping you get to that point. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and open up my work here. I have something, it looks like I have to start reading and going through. Make sure that you don't skip any of that because it will be very helpful for you to get your assignments. So I'm just going to type something in here. This is my sample response. I could turn it in here or I can turn it in here. It doesn't matter, but it is very important that you turn the work in. Not that you just leave it there hanging in cyberspace, Mrs. Kluchar trying to find it. You need to make sure, in order for you to get a grade, it has to be submitted. So that is something that you need to make sure that you do when you're doing these online classes. You don't just, say, oh, I submitted it and it's not submitted. So again, that's going to be really important. Maybe I needed to add something with this. Maybe part of the instructions were create slides or something, or create a picture or whatever it happens to be. So you can add things to it. I could create a new one. I could add something from my Google Drive. So let me just create a slides presentation. That's not always going to be required, but it might be required for some of your assignments. I don't know why that's taking so long. Okay, so I could type, so it's creating a presentation here for me. I'm just going to call this my sample. And I'm going to go ahead and turn that in. Okay, and so that's the basics of how to turn in an assignment. Pretty simple. So I can go back to my classwork tab. I'm going to go ahead and turn in another one. Let me see here. I'm going to click on just this one randomly. And I'm going to go to view my assignment. It has me view a presentation and answer some questions. And so this one, I'm probably going to have to make a copy of it. And then I'm going to have to make sure that I add my work to that because it's not already there. So if you see that, you have to attach your work to it. And so I'm going to go ahead and attach my most recent work to that, and then I'm going to turn that in. Okay. So that just kind of gives you an overview of the assignments, and then I'm going to go to my main, the thing about this online health class is that your grades for this are not going to be through Progress Book. So you need to check Google Classroom consistently, and that shouldn't be a problem because that's where you're turning your work in through. But everything's going to be done through Google Classroom. So you want to keep that in mind. When you're checking your grades, don't forget, check your online health class too. But, stay on top of it so you are not behind in your work. Okay, so to check your grades for this, you want to go to this, and I'm not a student in a lot of classes, so this part might be a little clumsy for me, but again, your work, your grades are going to be done through Google Classroom. So I'm going to click on this little person tab here, and I'm going to see my things that have been returned with a grade, and I don't have any because I haven't. And then your grade for the class will be here as well. So that's how you're going to stay on top of figuring out what your grade is in the class. And I think that's pretty much it. Again, make sure if you have any questions that you ask Ms. Kluchar either by email or in person. Again, I'm Mrs. Gempel. I'm happy to help with any of the technical Google Classroom aspects of it. And again, I think she's very well organized with things. So I think that you're going to have an easy time navigating things, but you just need to make sure that you stay on top of your work. It's much more independent than going to the class every day and listening to your teacher saying, well, now do this and now do that and turn this in here and turn that in there. You're going to have to go in very frequently and do your assignments and make sure your assignments are turned in and check up on your grades, check your emails, that sort of thing. And if you do that, you'll be successful. So I hope that you have a good year and a good semester.